Hey everyone, it's Rachel. Today I am going to be talking about the original Broadway cast album of Bonnie and Clyde the Musical featuring Jeremy Jordan and Laura Osnes, but only the first act. Since this video is only about Act 1, I'm only going to give a summary of Act 1 of the musical, so here goes. So I like to do a long summary and a short summary. This musical is about a couple who falls in love in the 1920s, specifically the Great Depression, and eventually become criminals, specifically like bank robbers, and it is based on the real life story of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow. It starts out with young Clyde and young Bonnie, and then eventually transitions to the Bonnie and Clyde that is throughout the musical and everything. Clyde has just escaped from prison along with his brother Buck, but on the side of the road is Bonnie, and she has problems with the car, and in exchange for a ride, Clyde is like, I'll help you with your car and everything. And Buck, who is Clyde's brother, who also escaped, goes back to his wife, Blanche. So Blanche tries to convince her husband, Buck, to turn himself in order to be right in the eyes of the Lord and the law. Clyde visits Buck and learns of Buck's plan to eventually turn himself in, and he's not happy, so he leaves. Eventually, Clyde gets caught by Ted Hinton, who later plays kind of like a bigger role. He's kind of like the main police officer or main authority in this in this musical that's hunting down Bonnie and Clyde. The reason Ted Hinton is kind of like a main police officer in this is because he's kind of like the other love interest of Bonnie. So there's Clyde and there's Ted Hinton, but I will talk about them later. While in jail, Clyde convinces Bonnie to smuggle him a gun. She does smuggle him the gun, and he escapes and kills a deputy. So that's the end of Act 1. So I'm gonna give a background of each song, so what's happening at that specific point in the musical. I'm gonna play the clip, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. So let's get started. So the first song of the musical is the prologue, and it's basically just like a 30-40 second instrumental. Maybe this was the audio quality of my laptop, but I felt that it was kind of staticky, which gave me the impression it was actual realistic music from the 1920s. So I felt kind of like the audience was being transported back to the 1920s or the era of Bonnie and Clyde. That's the impression that I got. And I'm that's a genius idea. So the first song after the prologue, I don't know, I consider this the first official song. I don't know why my brain doesn't count the prologue. But anyway, the first song is Picture Show. So let's play the clip.
I wanna be her, I wanna be her, dressed in style like Clara. I can see me, can you see me? The main attraction at the picture show.
So in this song, I like how they use the younger Bonnie and younger Clyde to transition into the Clyde and Bonnie and Clyde that we see throughout the musical. I thought that was cool, the way they do that transition, they're harmonizing, and then you see the Bonnie or Clyde that we see for the rest of the musical. I thought that was really cool. The next song is This World Will Remember Me. So the background on this song is it's when Bonnie meets Clyde for the first time, and Clyde's just you're gonna remember me because I'm gonna be a famous criminal. That's basically what he's saying. The clip I'm about to play, I'm kind of conflicted about, and I'll explain in a minute. So let's play the clip.
I can't believe that you see that in me. I always knew I'd be a star, how intelligent you are.
Don't get me wrong, I think Laura Osnes is an amazing singer. I feel like this and Cinderella was probably her prime time on Broadway, but I feel like she was just too shouty in this specific musical. At least this specific song, I felt she was way too shouty. With a character like Bonnie, I'm at least personally expecting someone to be soft and almost innocent because she didn't want to be a criminal like Clyde. But that's not the energy that she's giving off here when she sings it kind of shouty like. I'm assuming that they made her style of singing this way in order to complement Jeremy's, the actor who plays Clyde, his singing style, and they definitely complement each other really well. But it just wasn't what I personally was expecting. So I thought it was kind of funny here that Bonnie didn't know what pull 3 jobs meant. There's this line, she's pull 3 jobs, what does that mean? And then Clyde's what do you think it means? And like I thought that was funny that she didn't know what that meant. But also like when I first listened to this as a 15-year-old, I didn't know what that meant. So so the next song I'm going to be talking about is called You're Going Back to Jail. So the background of this song is it's Blanche trying to convince Buck to turn himself in, but it kind of backfires on her. So Blanche tries to use her friends to convince him as well, but that doesn't go as planned. Her friends basically admit how easy their lives are with their husbands in jail. So let's play the clip.
Joe Black, okay, Trish, like teeth and hair and cash to be exact. I think you're done.
So I like this clip that I just played because I feel like it's such an underrated vocal movement from this musical. And what's even better is it's not coming from someone who's like a main character. It's coming from one of Blanche's friends. I think her name is Trish. But it's not even from a main character. That's what makes it such underrated. And also like just the be exact, it's such a high note and I love that. I'm assuming that this character is also an ensemble member. I'm assuming that they have this part as Trish and they double as an ensemble member, but I'm not 100% sure. So I have a list of notes that I basically wrote down as I was listening to this album, like the most recent listen of this album that I did. But I love the one that I wrote and I said, yes, Blanche, I am here for those riffs. But also I love that she has a country style like feeling to her singing, and that's pretty impressive for a Broadway show. As a whole, this song has such a comedy feel to it, but also gives off country vibes. And I was not expecting that from any Broadway album I would ever hear in my life, and not less enjoy. So the next song is called How Bout A Dance. The background of this song is Clyde is convincing Bonnie to sing him a song. Essentially the song is How Bout A Dance. And he's also kind of like, oh my gosh, both of our dreams are going to come true and everything, and kind of like reassuring her. So let's play the clip.
Music like this can really throw you.
In the clip that I just played, I thought she has great control of her voice and everything. But in the first minute of that song, she sounds so like soft and innocent, which is the vibe like I was expecting. But I felt like she could have kept that more throughout the musical instead of shouty, with a few exceptions. The next song is one of my favorites. It's called When I Drive. So the background of this song is Clyde is visiting Buck and they're talking about the newest Ford that just came out, which apparently can go 60 miles an hour. And they're talking about how they want to drive it and everything. So let's play the clip.
When I drive, I can reach 65. I won't pay the law no mind. They'll always be behind. And man, that just feels great.
I chose this clip because Clyde seems so carefree in this moment. Shout out to Jeremy Jordan for conveying his emotions so well as he, always does. I love that they're just enjoying life in this song. Like they are literally living in the Great Depression, yet they're just enjoying life, and I'm here for it. Like overall, I thought this song had really good dialogue between Buck and Clyde, and the harmonies towards the end were amazing between those two. And I like the fact that they focus on a relationship besides Bonnie and Clyde. They also focus on Blanche and Buck, and a little bit, there was a song I'll get to later about Blanche and Bonnie, but I like that they had a song that was more than just Bonnie and Clyde. Also, the first few seconds of this song had instrumentals, and it gave a country rock vibe, and I loved it. So the next song I'm going to do is God's Arms Are Always Open, and the background of this song is Clyde essentially gets caught and Buck eventually turns himself in. But while that is going on, there's like this southern preacher and he's kind of giving a sermon. So let's play the clip.
You're welcome here, there is room for everyone.
Honestly, I just like this clip because of his riffs. So I like the style of the preacher singing in this song because he definitely gives off that stereotypical Southern preacher vibe from the 1920s. and it's just great. So I'm gonna take off my glasses for the rest of this video because they keep messing with my lighting. In my opinion, I felt like the message of this song, really the message of his sermon, is that God's gonna love you no matter what you've done, even if it's crime. And I'm not saying I disagree with that, but it kind of takes a little bit of a twist whenever the preacher has a later song in Act 2. It kind of has a twist. Also, can we talk about who the heck is Jeremy Jordan's accent coach for like this specific song? Because he does amazing. Whoever coached him was very, very convincing. So the next song is You Can Do Better Than Him. So the background for this song is Clyde is in jail, and Ted, who I mentioned earlier, he does play a bigger part, but they're basically talking about their love for Bonnie. So let's play the clip.
I know you won't do better than me, no.
I really like the harmonies in this clip between Ted and Clyde. Like, they aren't overpowering the overall. This song gives off like a country ballad vibe to it, and that's not, like I've said previously, not anything I would expect in my life from any Broadway show. So go them. The next song is You Love Who You Love, and the background for this song is Blanche and Bonnie are saying how much they love Buck and Clyde. So let's play the clip.
There's a part of him you know is wild. Maybe that's what made you love him all along.
And this is kind of like the female version of the song we just heard, You Can Do Better Than Him. Like, this is the female version of that. With the clip I just played, I felt like they had amazing harmonies here, and I loved the melody. I thought it was great. However, in the first 30 seconds of that song, Bonnie kind of has this sweet, innocent, like, vibe to her singing, which is what I would have expected from a character like Bonnie, at least in the first act, until she has that breaking point later on. Raise a Little Hell is one of my favorite songs throughout this whole musical. So the background for this is kind of sad. Clyde is in jail and he's experienced some really traumatic things. I'm not going to go into it, but he essentially kills someone. So let's play the clip. I love this clip because I just love the ending high note with really good breath support, and I feel like that's just a classic Broadway move. You can feel the anger in Jeremy's voice, in the music, in the lyrics, and it is definitely a turning point in this specific song. I think that Frank Wildhorn and Don Black did an amazing job here, really throughout the whole musical, but just conveying the characters' thoughts and feelings through the lyrics and the music. The last song of Act 1 is This World Will Remember Us. The background of this song is Clyde convinces Bonnie to smuggle him in a gun. She does, he uses it, and he escapes. So let's play the clip.
We are making dang sure that we leave our mark. You don't leave your mark by digging ditches.
Clip is really interesting because they complement each other really well here. Like, one isn't overpowering the other, and their harmonies are really good. In like the first 5 seconds of this song, you can hear this little whisper that Clyde does, and I thought that was really, really cool. I really think Clyde does love Bonnie, but he has like an alternative motive for becoming a famous criminal. Whether or not he's conscious of that is a different story. Also similar but different. So Bonnie, I think, really does love Clyde, but she wants a different type of fame. And I feel like that eventually will lead her to her breaking point and wanting to leave when she's like on the road with Clyde and everything. So that's all of my thoughts for Act 1 of the musical. The reason I divided this up into 2 videos, so Act 1 and Act 2, is because I didn't want the whole video to be like 30-40 minutes long, and I would even get bored watching that. So yeah, thank you for watching.